Welcome, apprentices, ne'er-do-wells, onlookers. Welcome to Seared. I'm glad you're here. As of this recording, it is about a week past Halloween. So as you listening to this or watching it, it'll have been 3 weeks. And I was driving by this afternoon. I saw a whole bunch of homes still having the Halloween decorations. And part of me is like, you may want to take that down because we're done. They said done. Like there's no need to hang on to this. But I know people love Halloween. So part of me is like, but keep it. Who am I? Who am I to say what you do with your house and your accoutrements that are stapled in and around your house? But what also came to me, so then I was thinking that I'm like, actually, let's keep them on for a bit, because what's more frightening than the Halloween scares is the fact that now, I know y'all in the States have your Thanksgiving coming up, but we already had our Thanksgiving here in Canada. Like, we did it properly. We have enough space and time between having to hang out with your family. You guys have a double one. Why'd you do this? You played yourself. Why'd you play yourself? But what's more frightening is now that Christmas is coming, the Mariah Carey song is going to be slowly infiltrating and finding its way into the collective conscience of this planet. And it's very frightening because clearly I'm not a fan of it. So... And did you see she tried to get a court order to to copyright Queen of Christmas, and the judge was like, "Yeah, no, that's ridiculous." Yeah, no. They said, "Yeah, no," and it's so funny. Yeah, no. I'm just bear with me for a moment. The "yeah, no" is one of my favorite expressions. It encapsulates so much of... There's so many emotions and things going on in the yeah, no. Do you ever think about it? The yeah, no. The yeah part is, I don't have time to weigh all the options and to look at the pros and cons. I don't desire to go through it, but somehow I've already come to a conclusion, and the no of yeah, no is just no. So it's yeah, no. All, like, so much is happening in that. Like, it's an emotional journey. It's like the hero's journey almost in that yeah, no. And the judge wanted no part of that Christmas tomfoolery that Mariah Carey. All right. Speaking of tomfoolery, welcome to Seared Stories from the Stove. This is episode 11, I believe. We're in the double digits. We're moving ahead. We're forging. We're plowing through the snow of uncertainty and helping you to get to a better place in your life. One story, one episode at a time. What I wanted to share today. This is a story of someone that I had mentioned in a previous episode. And once again, as I talk about folks, it's not to slag them. It's not to embarrass or humiliate. It's to highlight something. And I don't use their real names, and my role is not to insult, but just to illuminate, to highlight, and to demonstrate. And so sometimes I may say, wow, what a goofball they were. So I do, I said all that, and sometimes my humanness slips in there. So please understand, this is not to embarrass or humiliate, but just, again, to highlight. So this was a person I reported directly to, and he came in with his girlfriend for dinner one night. It wasn't a busy night, but it was steady. But he had come in. We had heard he was coming in. I think he had told a few people. So we're kind of expecting him. Now, this was an open kitchen. So understand, I'm watching this happening. And so he walks in with his girlfriend, and they're at the desk for a little bit. And again, it's not that busy. So I'm like, what's the delay? What I can see, what I can understand, what I pick up on is that the servers are kind of deciding who's going to take him. Not because they wanted him. They didn't want to take him. They're like, no, you do it. No, you do it. No, you do it. No one wanted him in the section. And which is like, at first, I'm like, oh, kind of made me sad. But there's more. And so eventually the manager makes the decision. So-and-so, just shut up. They're in your section. And so there was, from what I can tell, like the service was professional, very perfunctory, but it was very businesslike. Like there was no warmth exuded, right? There was nothing there. I'm watching it, and it was, like no one was love bombing the table. Let's put it that way. And from what I can see, I didn't see like, hey, a little this and maybe a glass of Prosecco or an amuse-bouche from the kitchen. I wasn't in charge in the kitchen, so it wasn't my call. And I'd seen other people who worked there come there, and this has happened to myself too, and people from other sections, and people come off their stations to come and say hi and high five and how's it going? That kind of banter, but there was nothing. It was very, very clinical and very sterile at that table. And they ate, and then they left. And there was no, hey, my God, see you tomorrow, see you next. And there was nothing there. And I don't even know if he walked by the kitchen. He may have maybe waved. I don't know. And I didn't think much of it and until the next day. It was Saturday morning. I got there early. I was always the first one. Keener. But you know what? Actually, the good thing about getting there early is that you get all the containers. You get all the prep space. You get to hoard everything. Mine. So I was there early. I was just doing my thing. I was listening to music, I believe. And Skylar walks in. He wasn't supposed to be in. I think he had booked the weekend off. I guess it was some special occasion. And he comes in, shorts, t-shirt, just doesn't really say hi. Just marches to like the point of sale system. I'm like, oh, hey, Skylar, what are you doing here? Like, what's going on? And he just said, well, I'm just here comping my bill. I'm taking care of my bill. I'm like, oh. And I thought to myself, that's interesting. Wouldn't they have done that then and there as like a gesture of some kind? I believe they had an allowance of how much they can spend but you think that maybe the front of house would say, hey, you know what? We're going to take care of this and we're going to give you this. There was none of that. Like the fact that he had to come in himself and do it, there's a reason why I'm sharing this. Now he did leave and I was okay. And I just got cracking on with my stuff. But the reason I share this is because it's a very, very simple concept that you've heard a million times, but really is highlighted here. And that is essentially you reap what you sow. It's very simple. It's an energetics thing in some way, right? It's the law of cause and effect, which is for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. That's the, what's that law? I can't remember. But that's very much basically what the law of cause and effect is, right? Like the universe is always in motion, right? There's energy coming and going, heading out and returning. It's being thread through everything. It's all energy, right? Like success is not an accident. Failure is not an accident. We always say like your external life is a reflection of your inner world. And the law of cause and effect is just one expression, one way that it's demonstrated that way, right? The law of cause and effect requires that we take ownership over our lives, the good, the bad, the ugly, everything in between, right? And thankfully, we have the power to create more of what we want, right? The quote unquote, the good. Now, I just use those terms, but really there is no good or bad, right? According to the universe. The universe is just neutral, just things are. And it's what we put upon our experiences, intentions, actions, and thoughts as good or bad, or having, good results or negative results. And so we get to create that in our lives. Like the idea of good and bad, like in a war, let's say, whatever, or in sports or whatever, like your team are the good guys, so to speak. It's all relative. It's all perspective. And so, but the universe doesn't see things like that. It goes with energy, intention, emotion. It maybe even more than that. That's just very surface way of doing that. So in that regards, Skylar saw himself in a certain way. He saw himself as the good guy. And my feeling with him was that the energy he was putting out, regardless of how he saw himself, brought a certain result, right? It resulted in him coming to the restaurant and it being very, very standoffish, because that was how many of us experienced him, right? Again, it's that what you put out. And he got himself into this cycle, and I'm not trying to psychoanalyze it, it's just my experience and just thinking back. He was very much like this lone wolf type of person and felt himself like he was an outsider. And because of that, subconsciously or consciously, like he created the beliefs and the thoughts and the emotions and the actions that came from the idea that whatever, no one likes me, I'm an outsider, I'm a lone wolf, whatever it is. And that created a domino effect that came back to him, where again, others pulled away from him. And that cements the thought of him, yeah, I am an outsider looking in, right? It was in a way him manifesting a certain way of being, right? Because in how he operated, there was like berating others, there was a lot of sarcasm and snarkiness, there was gossiping. He didn't really help others succeed. He held back rewards. He was insecure. And he didn't want to see anyone rise past him, like his own limitations, his own upper limit. And so that was him, he created that. And we all do this. And he's not unique. I used to hang out with him after work, not all the time, but often. We'd go for drinks. And he was a bit of a different guy outside of work, a little bit more relaxed, but you could just see like the shoulders are always slumped, like his posture, his general demeanor was just really, was tense. And you could feel like this battle of wanting to be seen but not, and just like, and I saw myself in him so much. That's why I related to him. We were both Scorpios. I don't know if that's anything to do with anything, but I related to Skylar, and I could feel where he was with this. And what's very interesting too is that he had lupus, and lupus, if you don't know, is where the body, like, it attacks itself. It sees its own self as an invader, and so it attacks. And and there's symptoms, of course, with this. And it's so interesting that he had something physical, which was a direct mirror to his emotional and mental state. You know what I mean? Where his own thoughts consumed him. His own emotions attacked him, where he created this way of being that was hurting himself. It was really interesting. And again, this is something that so many of us do. We create the stories. We create the subconscious programming, or we carry on maybe old programming, and then it expressed through the body. And we take the actions, and then we get the results. The results are, we always say, the results you have right now in your life are a direct result of your beliefs and your decisions up until now. There's that expression, if it's on your plate, you ordered it, right? How apt for a restaurant chefy podcast and story. You know, like if it's on your plate, you ordered it somehow. And I want to be clear, very crystal clear, that whenever I talk about this kind of thing, there's always someone going to say, oh, so what you're saying is me being abused by my stepdad at 4 is my fault. That is not at all true. I want to be very crystal clear on that. Like if you are if you've been victimized, if you've been abused, especially as a child, it is not your fault at all. Because there's something called free will, and there's other people out there with darkened hearts, shadows over their hearts, who will act and do some god-awful things, some horrible things that they need to be separated from society for the rest of their lives. Straight up. So this is not that. What I'm talking about is, how are you setting yourself up? It's also, who are you hanging around with? Here's the thing. There's that expression, right? Sit in a barber's chair long enough, you're going to get a haircut. And so it's like, who are you with? What kind of news and things are you ingesting? Are you knowingly putting yourself in positions where you can get harmed in some way? And again, this is not victim blaming. This is just in our day-to-day. How are we setting ourselves up? Right? Sometimes I know for myself, okay, I can only speak for myself. I felt like I was a piece of shit and I deserved whatever came my way. I used to hope and pray that I would get cancer. Like, that's how much I disliked myself. And of course, I drank, which is a horrible way to treat your body and yourself. So for me, all the consequences, all the things that happened, I set that up. That was me. I can't blame it on my bullying. I can't blame it on this. I can't blame it on No, that was me. So again, when I talk about if it's on your plate, you order, it's not about that other stuff. It's about, how are you setting yourself up now? What thoughts are you having? Right? It's simply asking you to monitor your thoughts, your actions, your behaviors, etc. Because what you ask the universe for, or what you focus on, you're going to get back. Right? And by asking the universe, again, it's like, it's not like you say, dear universe. No, it's like, what are you focusing on? What you focus on expands. Right? The universe is responding to your energy towards something. I hope that makes sense. Like if you're in victim mode and you're constantly thinking everyone's out to get you, or why does it always happen to me, or etc., the universe is like, wow, she's really thinking about people getting to her or taking advantage of her. Guess what? You're going to be presented in situations where there's a greater chance of you being victimized, right? But it also works the other way. And when you start thinking about, I deserve success, and you're focused on a goal, and you're focused on, then the universe is like, oh, they're focusing on that. Let's introduce people and resources and things out of the blue, quote unquote, coincidences out of the blue, that can help them get to where they're going. That's just how it is. And I've seen it countless times unfold. So how do you take advantage of this law of cause and effect? I'm going to share a few ways you can do that. Okay, so how are some ways that you can take advantage of the law of cause and effect to your advantage? So 1, take inventory of your thoughts. Like, what is the grade and quality of your thoughts? You know, what you repeat, you relay to the universe, as we talked about. Monitor your thoughts. Like, what's coming up? Is it scarcity or is it abundance? Is it love or is it mistrust or hate? Or is it fear? And this is where you get to, you have total control in shifting your inner monologue. It's not easy. I'm not saying this is all easy, especially depending on where you're at. If you're someone, and this was me, where my self-esteem was in the toilet, for me to say, I deserve this, I'm worthy, that was really hard. And I had to start with something small. I had such self-loathing that it wasn't like, I love myself. That was way too big a leap. I had to start with, I don't hate myself that much. And I had to start with that. And then move to, I don't hate myself. And eventually to, I like myself kind of. And then I like myself and then moving up. That took years. So it just depends on where you are. But again, monitor your thoughts. It's almost like take inventory of them. 2, be the cause, not the effect. That is, be proactive, not reactive. Like, what is your energy and what are your thoughts? It's like what energy are your thoughts coming from, right? Think about a time when things came easy to you or when you were successful. That energy, how you felt, how you tackled things, you can be that now. You don't have to have the success first, then have the feeling. It doesn't work like that. You have the feeling and thoughts first, and then the success comes, right? Again, the universe is like, oh, they're thinking that way. Let's introduce some stuff. Of course, you have to take actions. This isn't all just, sprinkling pixie dust and poof, you're a millionaire or something like that. Or poof, you got a beautiful relationship. But it starts with what's up here. Right? So don't wait for things to happen. Make them happen. Because if you're waiting for things, you're giving your power away. Right? So create the thoughts that are in line with your goals. 3, think for yourself. What do I mean by that? Don't be influenced by low-grade thinking and results. There's 1,000,001 voices out there with social media, with whatever it is that you read, your news or whatever. There's so much out there, so many people talking. How are you filtering that? Are you filtering it? Are you just taking everything, as gospel, as canon? Or are you hanging around people who maybe bring you down, who are negative? The crab in the bucket, right? Just bring in anyone that tries to get out, they bring them down. Right? And there are people out there because they're going to project their own limitations and fears and everything onto you. And so you need to be able to filter what is yours and what is theirs, right? You need to, yourself best. And you want to be with people who want the best for you and want to see you succeed and will push you. And they're succeeding in ways, and they're using different language than the people who are just moaning and complaining and gossiping and, whatever, right? And also, what channels are you watching? What accounts are you following on social? All that kind of stuff. What books are you reading? What videos are you watching on YouTube? Hopefully you're watching this one. Create the thoughts that will help you. Even if you feel like you're alone in like you have a lone voice, even if it's counter to most of the people around you, because this is your life, right? And so it's important that you create for yourself how you think. And so when you do those 3 things, it's going to help elevate your way of thinking. It's going to attract different people, different resources, different things your way. But it starts with you. You have 100% control in this. 100%. Again, regardless of where you were born, and of course those will influence, of course. But in the end, you have control over this. What you relay out into the universe is up to you. Right? Things don't happen to you. They happen for you. No one gets a free ride in this life, in this path. We may think like rich people and, celebrity. Believe me, there's stuff that is going on with them. Right? It's just how you show up for yourself, your thoughts, everything is reflected. Again, there's no accidents. Success is not an accident. Failure is not an accident. It's how you create. And this is all about creation, right? And you don't want to imprison yourself with fear and doubt, right? Trust the fact that the law of cause and effect, all the universal laws work. Just like electricity. You don't have to understand electricity, but when you turn the light on, it goes on, right? Like study and analyze your life and be proactive. And if you can do that, you'll be able to change your life and the outcomes that you have. Like if you don't like where you're at, then you're going to have to make some changes, period. And that means getting out of the comfort zone, stepping into courage, and trying new things. You choose your thoughts, you choose your life, right? It's like a dish, like a recipe, right? Like the quality of ingredients you put into it is what you'll get out of it, right? A diet of just junk food is going to give you exactly what you expect of someone that has a junk food diet, right? And vice versa. It's what you're consuming and how you're transforming that, transmuting that into something different or in your higher good, in your best good towards your goal. So choose how you want to live, right? You don't have to be like Skylar and live from a place of victim. I lived very much like that for a long time. And I can say that now, as I choose, I can still step into that, by the way, but as I choose higher grade thinking and higher grade ways of seeing myself and others, just things change financially, physically, all those things. It's just choosing. It's your choice. There you go. Speaking of choice, thank you for choosing to spend your time here. It's Seared. If you're watching, I would love if you choose to subscribe. I'm thinking of The Simpsons. You choose me. I have to find the video for that. But yeah, if you can choose, I would love to hit 100 subscriptions by the end of the month. It helps open up like the algorithm and all that to help others. This isn't like for me vanity metrics. I just really want to be able to get this out and these kinds of insights and lessons to other people so they can get more out of their lives. And I hope this is helping you. Like this was the point of doing this. This isn't a vanity project. There's a lot of work that goes involved with this, especially doing this on video. So please, I would love if you could smash the subscribe button and share. And if you're listening, my dear lovely listeners, I have never forgotten about you. If you can do a review, that would be lovely. I haven't gotten one, so you can be the first. There you go. There's your incentive. Be the first. How cool would that be? You have bragging rights. I don't know how much bragging that is about that. Or just leave a star review. Anything helps. All right, enough begging and mooching. I feel like my dog at the dinner table. Time to pack it up. Pack it up, pack it in. Okay, I'll stop the dad rapping. Thank you very much, and we will catch you on the next episode. So, kitchen's closed. Now scram. Bye.